Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Today is October 3rd, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central. My screen should be shared with you. We have the new landing page template in the background there, and we can make that a little bit smaller so it doesn't look quite so thrown off. And then let me pull back up the notes. There we go. So we're going to talk about the new landing pages, talk about the entrepreneur starter pack, which we introduced yesterday. We ended up having 176 enrollments yesterday. So for the first day of this new packaging, this new program, almost 200 enrollments. And so thanks to several of you that generated a crazy volume. But let's get back to the agenda here. So, our organization is 509 South Pacific. This is the daily Zoom. As I mentioned, we do most mornings at 8 o'clock Central. On Fridays, we tend to do a truncated version so we can all finish the week strong. Our website has not changed. It's 509pacific.org. We're driving folks primarily through our landing page here, which if you go to Entrepreneur Starter Pack, we'll talk about that, of course, today. Our tech support line continues to be the best way to receive assistance, 903-347-8042. If you need to call in and talk to live people, our phone number is, of course, on the website. Our YouTube channels where we post most past trainings. You can find our library there of hundreds and hundreds of past trainings. And if you need to schedule a call, the structure of our nonprofit is the same as we discuss daily. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We applied for and received a grant. The grant has three mandates, first of which is to improve financial literacy. The second of which is to give away free shelf corporations. And the third is to use that knowledge and use those shelf corporations to get money into the hands of the grant participants, the clients. Our model is unique in the sense that we work with distribution partners across the country and across the globe. Many of you are distribution partners, either as a reseller or branch office. Thank you for joining us today. If you're here with us live, or if you're listening to it afterwards, welcome just the same. So we're going to come back and talk some more about the ESP, the Entrepreneur Starter Pack. Again, we had not quite almost 200 enrollments yesterday. Want to thank a number of you that had driven in. I think several of you drove in more than 20 because there was a bit of a pent up demand. So let's keep that up. And again, the website Entrepreneur Starter Pack. So let's talk about ESP from two perspectives. And that's where there was a little bit of confusion yesterday. So we're going to do a better job of delineating. Or we can talk about and discuss the value proposition from the perspective of the participant. And then we can also separately talk about the value proposition from those of you that are distribution partners. So, of course, you could be both, but let's address them separately. So, first of all, why would someone want to participate in the ESP? Well, that's what we spent quite a bit of time yesterday. So, everyone will get a landing page. It'll look like this. They'll fill out the information. Once they do, it's going to immediately bring up this packet, and this packet will be customized to you, of course. Just as we discussed yesterday, it starts with a flyer that we went through in kind of painful detail yesterday that outlines all the value proposition, and then it gets down into the actual agreement. So, from the participant's perspective, I guess we can leave it here if we want and pull back up the notepad. So, from the participant's perspective, why would someone want to participate? Well, if they're looking for funding to start or grow a business, then they have a problem. And you and I have a legal, compliant, innovative solution. So, we can provide them a fundable shelf corp in 7 days. Through the grant, we don't charge them for the shelf corp. Yes, there is a processing fee that our resellers, our distribution partners will charge. You all get to determine what that is. We'll talk about that down on number 2. But they're getting that Shelf Corp through the grant for free. It takes about 7 days for us to get that into their hands. And at that point, they're going to have the entity, and the deliverables, by the way, are outlined here on the flyer. So if you need to go see this, you can go to, again, entrepreneurstarterpack.com. That's going to bring you to the landing page. Fill this out. That doesn't commit you to anything. Fill this out, and then this is going to pop up on your screen, by the way. So in about 7 days, they're going to get the entity. The entity is set up. It's in good standing with the Secretary of State. We're on this point here. It's going to be set up under the industry code, SIC code 8742, which I think you all know, and it's shown on the screen, management consulting. Well, you might say, well, Tom, what if they don't want to do management consulting? That's fine. We could either change it, or this could be an adjunct revenue stream. They could be a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, or an auto mechanic. I think what's great about the management consultant category is it's something that anyone else could do, so it's never going to be in conflict. Since we're delivering kind of a business in the box with the Shelf Corp, it needed to be something. It couldn't be nothing. So what we went with is one of the most fundable industry codes. So they're going to get the entity in about 7 days, as it shows here. They're going to also get the business plan. Business plan's ready to go. We, again, can make changes to it if they want. They get a free unique commercial address, and that unique commercial address is important. As we've talked about, it's a required element for larger capital raises. They will pay the mail forwarding, but the address is free for the lifetime of the business. We've even put together financial projections going out 3 years. Again, if the client wants us to change it, we can change it, but it's built to be a business in the box, essentially ready to go to funding. We also include collateral, because a lot of lenders want to see collateral, so we built that in. And with the Entrepreneur Starter Pack, we are including $20,000 of quick cash, and that's great. So that's what makes this different from the normal Shelf Corp proposition, is that we're including the Shelf Corp, plus we're also including the $20,000 in quick cash. So from the time that the client gets with you, they sign up, they pay you whatever you want the processing fee to be. We'll, again, talk about your role and your value proposition in a moment. Then essentially we need about 7 days, as I've said several times, to get those deliverables to them. But also on around that 7th day, we're going to be ready to go into funding. We're going to be ready to start using that Shelf Corp. We can add trade lines, and there's been a lot of interest. And that's why we have the picture, the kind of cutesy little picture here of the Entrepreneur Starter Pack. This is a key fob for a Porsche 911. We chose this because that's one of the company cars we have, and I know a number of you also have 911s. But the bottom line is, in 7 days, we need essentially a week. And I know we live in a society, everything needs to be 7 seconds. But in 1 week, we can have the Shelf Corp to them, 20,000 in quick cash to them, and then be ready to proceed with funding, getting them offers. And then usually we can get them their first round of funding within 10 to 14 days from sign up. So really nice, concise turnaround. The other value proposition, of course, is that we guarantee that the clients go through the capital raise process. We guarantee a minimum of 100,000. And I know for a lot of your clients, 100,000 is not near enough, but we do guarantee in writing a minimum of 100,000. And you don't have to screen them out. They don't have to screen themselves out on credit or nationality or so forth. So that is the client participant proposition. It's essentially bringing the Shelf Corp and the quick cash under one package, and then leveraging grant funding to make it even more affordable for the participants. If there's any questions, comments, concerns on that, go ahead and type it into the Q&A. Now let's get over to the other side. What's in it for you? So we're doing this program, this project differently. So it's different. And I see Joseph already asking the question. That's exactly what I'm getting ready to go through right now, Joseph. So it's set up differently. So don't think it's the same. It is different. All right. So the first thing is we've learned that these landing pages really help to have a spot to drive your prospect to get them into the sales funnel. And then again, once they fill out the landing page, it's going to immediately bring up your contract. And then, of course, kick into the drip marketing, educate them, and move them forward over multiple texts. So, with that, we wanted to include a landing page, and the landing page comes for free. So you don't have to buy the landing page. But we're going to talk about again how we deliver it in a moment. Second benefit to our resellers is you control how much you make. So anything that you want to charge for the processing fee for the ESP, anything above $999.99 is yours. So you get to choose what your markup is. Many of you, I think, are pricing it at $1,999, so you're making $1,000 profit up front. Still a great value proposition, right? So for less than $2,000, they're getting a shelf corp, they're getting $20,000 in quick cash. We're going to be able to leverage all that to go to funding in 7 days. Typically, get them their first round in 10 to 14 days, and if they want to go through the funding process, they have a guaranteed capital raise regardless of credit. So great value proposition. So again, from a reseller's perspective, you can continue to offer the shelf corp alone the way that we've been doing it. That's fine. But we've seen a lot of people really want that quick cash as well. They needed some help with liquidity, with solvency. So that's why we've packaged this the way it is. So you make 100% of the markup on the front end. You're paid today, not waiting multiple days. You're paid literally day one. And then also by being a reseller or branch office, driving people through the free landing page that we give you, then you also make money off of the back end. So, in other words, the goal, of course, is to help the client build their financial literacy, get them into a shelf corp, and then go get funding. Most of our clients, and it varies, but most of our clients are looking for at least $1 million capital raise. Not all, we can go lower than that, but that's the average. So, if you're making 5% of that, it's about 50,000 to you. Now, again, the larger the capital raise. Kenny's on here, and Kenny's got a client, Devon. Now, Devon's been in the hospital. He's not participating right now. But once he gets healthier, he's going after 3 million. So Kenny is looking for, knowing Kenny's probably already spent it, regardless. Kenny's looking at 150,000 off just that one client. And that one client has a wide sphere of influence who's going to be bringing in, supposedly, lots of other clients. So there's no cap on how much the client can raise. There's no cap on how much you can make, but it's a easy to understand 5%. We also have an override, and we're not MLM or network marketing. It's built in. So let's take Brian. Brian's on our call, and Brian is one of the smartest guys I know. So he is out there hustling, and so he's making his 50,000 on average per deal. But he brought in Austin. Austin is incredible. Austin also wants to be a reseller. Well, Brian doesn't have to see Austin as a competitor. Austin also became a reseller. So we pay one level of override. So every time that Austin goes out and makes a sale, he gets his 5%, 50,000 on average. And guess what? Brian gets an equal override. So it's not MLM, it's not network marketing, there's not a bunch of tiers, there's not buy-in or any of that nonsense, but we do pay one level override. So we do need to make sure we're clear on how this is going to work. What we've learned from the original shelf corp proposition, which continues to be available, no one's taken that away. You can continue to do it if it's working for you the way it is we've been spending a lot of time helping people that sometimes don't produce. And so we're going to approach it differently on this program, on the Entrepreneur Starter Pack. We're going to provide a free landing page, so you don't have to worry about, do you have somewhere to send them? We're going to develop your e-contract for you, so it's going to be all done for you. However, going back to my notes, we're going to make it available to you in packets. So if you want a packet of ESP, you're going to buy from us a packet of 5. So it's the $9.99 times 5. So now you've got inventory. You've got 5 ESP packets that you've paid in aggregate 5,000 for, and then you can go resell them if you would like, which is probably the goal. If you're doing the average, then you're going to sell them for 2,000 a piece, so you're going to make 10,000 off of that. By doing it this way, we can make sure that there's enough return on our investment to give away the free landing page. And that's how it's working. So this is packaged differently. So that was Joseph's question earlier. It's a different proposition. You don't have to do it. I'm not here to push it, but it does give you the opportunity to be able to help people with this innovative model, make money on the front end, make money on the back end. So who has questions, comments, concerns on this approach, whether it be from the client's perspective, the grant participant's perspective, or from your perspective as a distribution partner? Because if you're listening carefully, it makes sense. I just don't want a bunch of people to call afterwards and say, well, where's my free landing page? Well, if you're ready to get a packet, which comes with 5 ESPs, we'll invoice you. You'll pay us for the 5. You'll have those available in inventory. Then we will set up your landing page, and then you'll be able to start selling. All right, so I see the first question's from Eric. What happens if he sells 6? Well, once you've gone through your 5 packets, then if you need another 5, then you can come by and replenish your inventory. ITEA asked about credit, and we just covered that, didn't we? So for participants to enroll in the Entrepreneur Starter Pack, you really don't need to do filtering. It's simply, do they have a problem that we can help them solve? And secondly, do they have the ability to pay you whatever you want to sell it for, ITEA? But yeah, credit is not a prerequisite. Michelle's asking about the trade lines, and that's right. So I think it was earlier this week. Time tends to blur a bit, but we had a specific training on Dun and Bradstreet, and you can go up and see that on our YouTube channel. We talked about Dun and Bradstreet and adding trade lines, and I guess I should have added that. So let me put a point here. Assistance with adding trade lines under the shelf court. That was Michelle's question. So yes, that's part of what we're doing. So whether it be a company car or company credit card or line of credit. And again, we're talking about company EIN based credit, not talking about personal credit. That is part of the model. And again, if you go back and watch our Dun and Bradstreet training we did a few days ago, it's on YouTube. That'll make sense. So you're right, Michelle. That is part of the value proposition. But frankly, that's an inherent part of the proposition of helping clients get funding. Because what we know is you don't get funding unless you qualify. And there's some basic things that we need to do to have a fundable business. First, we need to have a good entity to go to funding. And that's why we provide the shelf court. And then we help them set up their DUNS number. We help them optimize their DUNS profile so they look really strong to the outside world. And part of that is adding trade lines. So that way the lending world can see that this entity has had access to credit and paid as promised. The company cars are great because we all pretty much need we need transportation anyway. Why wouldn't we want the company car to be, or why wouldn't we want our car to be in the company name? Now it's fully tax deductible. And if we buy a vehicle that meets Section 179 of the IRS tax code, we can actually accelerate the depreciation. But those are advanced topics. But Michelle, you're absolutely right. So we don't charge them for helping with trade lines. So we're not selling trade lines. I think that's her question. We don't sell trade lines. Anyone that sells trade lines should be looked at with some scrutiny because the bureaus do not want trade lines to be bought and sold. That's not normal. I know some people do it, but that's gray, and you and I are not going to do anything that's gray. All right, so what do we need to do to take away from this? This is just simply a new option. If you don't have a landing page, but you want a landing page now, you can get a free one. You can continue to offer the Shelf Corp as a standalone proposition. No one's taking that away. That's what you all have been doing historically. That's perfectly fine. But what I do think that you're going to find is an even better response to this pack, this assembly, this value proposition. Because this is what they were getting before with the Shelf Corp, and then going to funding in 7 days is what they got before. But now we're adding a very important point, getting them the quick cash. Because some of these people, they need money now versus just waiting for their big business loan, which could take a couple weeks. All right, any questions, comments, concerns? John asked if he can go through it. Well, of course you can go through it. Just simply go to entrepreneurstarterpack.com, and we can even type it. So what happens is it's forward. So you go to entrepreneurstarterpack.com, and bam, it takes right into the agreement. So let us know what other questions, comments, concerns that any of you have, and we'll address them. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up early on Friday the way we normally do, and that will allow us to all get to work. All right, well, thanks everyone. We'll see you back Monday morning. Let us know if we can be of any assistance. Have a good day.